show us to be among the righteous at the end. Father?
So I know there are like 5 Whovians out there who are upset that I haven't mentioned the Doomsday event going on amongst the licensees. But I'm not into it. I'm sorry. Time Lord Victorious was good, but this one looks kind of lame. But there, I mentioned it. So there was a time when you would hear preachers preach about the Last Judgment and sort of the way of life that was seen as being opposed to the Christian way of life was a way of life that is sort of pleasure-seeking, right? People just going out and wine, women, and song and living this wild life, chasing after the pleasures of the flesh. All this, and that was, you could do that, or you could be a good upstanding Christian, right? And then when the Last Judgment comes, right, there's going to be justice for both. And now the way society has gone, I don't think most people could identify with that anymore, right? I don't think those are the two ways of life that people see set before them. In fact, I don't think most people in our current society really see two different ways of life set before them. I think at this point in our society, post-COVID, now everything's demonetized, post-alienation and isolation and the internet and everything else, I think we're at the point now where almost everybody is primarily concerned about how they feel. And this isn't some kind of weird, selfish, self-centered thing. It's more just everybody is sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. Everybody's tired of feeling bad. Everybody's tired of feeling hopeless. Everybody's tired of feeling like their day-to-day life is meaningless. Like I'm gonna get up every day and do what I do every day, the same thing over and over again until one of these days I'll keel over dead. And people are just trying to find some way. Happiness may be too much to grasp, but just not feel bad. Just feel okay. Just feel like there's some purpose to things, or maybe something might get better at some time in the future. I think people even approach religion that way now. I think a lot of people who are former atheists and stuff coming back to religion, a lot of it is, sadly, I mean, it's a good result, people coming back to especially Christianity, but a lot of it is desperation. A lot of it is just, I need something. I need something that'll make some of this mean something or be worthwhile. And the problem with that, and we've gotten there by just being broken down, but the problem is we're just seeking to alleviate suffering. We're just kind of seeking to anesthetize ourselves for a little while. We're just kind of seeking, right, an escape. And not to bring everybody down further. I know I've already brought everybody down, but not to bring everybody down further, but there is no escape. There's suffering and there's trouble in this life. There always has been, there always will be. And it's not always just, meaning it doesn't always make sense. Job's suffering didn't make sense to him. It doesn't always make sense. And we're all going to die eventually on a long enough timeline. We all end up dead. But so there is something we can do. There's something we could do. There's something we can do that will give meaning, that will give us hope, the hope for vindication, the hope of Christ's return, the hope of judgment. Right? And it's not avoid suffering. It's not anesthetize ourselves from suffering. It's not carve out a few little moments of joy or beauty amidst all the suffering. It's not avoiding death for as long as possible in any way possible. We're going to suffer. Why not suffer for something? We're all going to die. Why not die for something? For someone. For something, for someone who's worth it. For someone or something who means something. We can't avoid the suffering, we can't avoid death, but we can make the suffering we face in this life, and we can make our death meaningful. And we do that by how we choose to receive it, what we choose to take away from it, what we choose to learn from it. I mentioned earlier the Maccabean martyrs who were being tortured to death because they wouldn't eat pork. Tortured to death in very graphic ways if you read 2 Maccabees. And who prayed to God and said, you know, my death, receive this as a sacrifice on behalf of the people because we've sinned. And so each of us has choices to make as we go through our life in terms of who we're living for and who we're going to die for and what that's going to mean. And we can make choices such as we'll sit at the end of our life, whether it's on our deathbed or whether it's before the dread judgment seat of Christ, and look at our life and say, yeah, that was all just a meaningless, horrible mess. That's entirely possible if we choose to live that way. Or we can live in a way where we look back on it and say, that was hard. That was difficult. That was painful at times. But it was worth it. And here's why. Right? Those things I sacrificed were for something. Were for Christ and his kingdom. That suffering and those sacrifices helped get rid of the garbage in my life that was making me so miserable. That I went through helped this other person. Help this other person make the next step in their own life. And so this is the choice that's before us. Right? I can't choose tomorrow whether I'm going to get sick or not. I can't choose whether I'm going to get stuck somewhere. I can't choose whether, I'm going to be in miserable conditions. Or I can't control, whether I'm going to get an unexpected check in the mail or an unexpected bill in the mail. Right. But I can choose what the purpose of all this is going to be. I can choose whether it's going to be meaningful or not. And so hopefully, as we think about the Last Judgment, as we think about wanting to be on the side that's going to be vindicated, that takes us back, as we saw over and over again in the New Testament texts that we went over, to how we live our life today, how we live our life for Christ and not for ourselves, how we try to live a life pleasing to God, how we try to do the works of God in the world. So that ultimately all this stuff that we've gone through and are going through and will go through will all be worth it in the end, and not just a horrible